podcaster, artist, or indie creator of any kind, you'll know what a struggle it can be to find creative services at an affordable price. And that's where Gig comes in. The global indie group has everything you need under one roof. You can connect with publishers, writers, editors, artists, videographers, musicians, composers, voiceover artists, podcasters, and more.
Hi, I'm Lori Calcaterra, and I'm on Gig.
Hi, this is Ben from Comic Book Squares, and we're on Gig.
This is George Medina, and I'm on Gig.
Hi, I'm Morgan, and I'm on Gig.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Matt, and we're Hops Geek News,
the geek-centric beer-loving pop culture podcast.
And we're on Gig.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Letzi, and I'm on Gig.
Hi, I'm Witty, and I'm on Gig.
We're on Gig.
Head to globalindiegroup.com now and check it out.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots, co-founder of the Plastic City Comic Con. With me, as always, is my good friend, Johnny C., creator of Sartana, Surrounded by Death, and The Pond. And we're here on a very special Thursday episode.
Yeah, what are we doing here on a Thursday?
I know, it's crazy.
Just when we thought we had the week off.
Yes, and I don't think we've ever been on a Thursday, but tell the audience tonight why we're here on this special Thursday episode.
Well, I'm very excited because we have a indie project that we're promoting, and one of the individuals involved is the legendary Mike Deodato. So Keith, I don't know how you worked your magic, but we're able to get such a wonderful guest, and I can't wait. I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, me too. And it's an honor. And the other two guys that are part of this project have amazing indie backgrounds as well, and yeah, I'm excited to talk to these guys. I don't know how we got them either, Johnny, to be honest. It's like, you take a shot sometimes. What's that old saying? You take the shoot for the moon or whatever, the stuff you see on inspirational posters. I don't know.
Miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah, that's
the one I like. That's the one I like to go with.
Awesome. So we usually talk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
We're gonna get right to the guests, and we're
no tangents tonight, pals.
Oh, absolutely. And this is gonna be a great one, folks. So stick with us, and we're gonna check out this campaign after too. It looks amazing.
This campaign, when I previewed it, I backed it almost right away. There were certain things, and I was saying right before in the green room, there's certain things when I was going through the campaign page and some of the different perks that are available, literally snapped me back to my childhood being in a comic book shop, browsing the covers on the racks. So I can't wait to share that and show that to you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Without further ado, let's start bringing in tonight's guests. I am first going to start with writer and co-creator Mike Buckley. Thanks, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you here, Mike.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Another co-creator and I believe writer for this project, David Campiti.
That's me.
Is that how you say it, Dave?
Campiti like spaghetti. There you go.
Campiti like spaghetti.
I like it. I like it. And then also the man, the legend, Mr. Mike Deodato. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Mike.
Oh my God!
I like spaghetti too. Where is the food?
Yeah, Mike, thanks for joining us so much. I mean, me and Johnny are super fans of your artwork.
Thank you.
I mean, we grew up with Marvel and DC, all even more recently AWA. All the books that you're a part of. Your artwork is amazing. Me and Johnny were discussing your artwork in a Facebook chat earlier today.
I was spamming because I was just going through and catching up and trying to refresh my memory on different pieces of yours, and I was just started spamming our group chat, going like, "Oh my God, this piece!" So like the Galactus piece. You have a Galactus piece that's so beautiful, and there's another one with Wolverine just giving it to Cyclops and his visor, flying off, and I love it. And one thing I explicitly said is that you're so good at conveying emotion. Absolutely. In your artwork, and it shows, and it really it cuts through. It cuts through everything. You don't need words. You know what I mean? Like you don't need words, but words are important. I'm not discounting the words, but it's almost like you don't need the words.
Thank you.
And all you fellas have like a really cool background in indie comics. I was doing a lot of research today, just looking at all of you guys' sites and whatever I could find basically on the internet, and it's like I was like blown away by all your credits, like everyone here, especially like Mike and Dave. You grew up in New England. I saw like are you guys both from Massachusetts?
Originally, partially. I spent a lot of time in New Hampshire, but I was early years raised in Massachusetts and went back to live there for a couple of years before moving on, and that's when I met Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I lived in North Attleboro, Massachusetts for 4 or 5 years. I took a job as the one and only copywriter at LG Balfour Company. The company does class rings and the Super Bowl rings, and that's right.
Oh, no kidding.
So all the catalogs, brochures, speeches, advertising that came out of there was mine. So
wow.
At the same time that I was breaking into comics, and within a year or so of breaking in, I wandered into a comic shop in Providence, Rhode Island, and that's where I met Mike Buckley.
Awesome. Because I'm currently in Leominster, and then Johnny, what city are you in, Johnny?
I'm in the town of Sudbury.
So we're Massachusetts natives, so
yep.
That's awesome. And it's cool to see that you guys are from around here,
a lot of indie comics has its roots in Massachusetts and certain things. You look at some prolific characters that came out of indie comics, and you point to a couple of indie creators in the in this region.
Oh, absolutely. One question we always love to ask our guests is like how you guys got started in this like business. Like when you were younger, how did you guys find comics? Like was it something you read or a TV show you saw or something like that? Or
Dale, you want to go first?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh well. Well, in Brazil, my father, he created the first comic book in my region. It was 1963. He was an artist too. So he collected comics. So I grew up reading his collections that were mostly from the 40s and 50s. And so I grew up reading Black Terror, very weird stuff. And so I had this... my father as a inspiration and as a tutor. He guided me through the world of comics, introducing me to the masters, creators that at my young age I would ignore normally, but because of him, he taught me, Eisner, but he draws in a funny way. Yeah, but look at the shadows, look at the angles, look what's happening in this panel. One thing happening in the foreground, another in the middle ground, and another in the background. And he see how he marks the time with the the drops of this the water of the sink, a lot of things that I couldn't notice because of my early age, but it brought my attention. Look at how Foster, how classic, how the amount of detail, how natural the characters look like. So things like that. So I had a great start to.
Yeah, I was reading that about you and your father. Like I that's one of the notes that I actually wrote down, that your father was an artist. Looked like he also was like involved in like a radio DJ as well or something like that.
Yeah, he created this character, the Flame, when he was a teenager, and then when he started work on radio, like director, he wrote soap operas and everything. He did everything in the radio, and he brought his character, made him a soap opera because they were very popular in the 60s, especially in a small town like mine. And so it was a big hit. And then he thought, okay, and then he started publishing in the newspapers, daily strips, and then he did the comic book. But of course, he could not continue because he had to work, real work to do. So it was just for a few issues, and he passed the baton to me, and then
it sounds like a very master apprentice type of relationship, where at least in the work ethic of the matter, because if you look at most trades, it's the same thing. That's where the fine details are learned and passed down, and you put the time in, they build you up. And it sounds like that's kind of what you got from your father. It's wonderful memories to keep too, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, because we worked together for several years when I started doing fanzines and independent material, and he was writing and I was drawing. But because he instead of writing a typewriter, he would do small thumbnails in half a page, a page, and with the panels already there, with the characters, with the angle, with the place to put the balloons. So I was learning just by passing those thumbnails to a big page. I was learning a lot without knowing. So I learned about timing, about narrative, about everything. Everything was there. So.
You kind of absorb it. It's like you learn, like you said, you learn it without knowing it. It's just you absorb it, and you learned it, but you couldn't define it. You just know it. Yep, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I was reading
you learned
that
it that
too,
way.
that you guys had worked together. Like I actually have an image of one of the comics here that you guys worked on. Let me
bring it up
real quick.
Let's take a look.
It's and it was for Caliber too, which I
the Crow was printed under Caliber.
Yeah, Fallout 3000. I guess this was it was called something else though in Brazil, right?
Yeah, Mike? It was 3,000 years later, the original name in Brazil.
Okay.
It didn't work, so Dave saved us and put a name that would work for USA.
It's so different from your style.
The cover I did later on, so it's not from the time, but the interior it's from 1983.
And your style has evolved so much from this. This looks like kind of like Image, like early Image style. Is that kind of?
Yeah, but not the interior. The interior, you can find the genesis of all my style. It is there. You can find Esteban Maroto, Neil Adams, Casa, French author, Bilal. The genesis, the origin of all my style is there. I had no idea when I had to publish it in Brazil. I was rereading. Hey, it's all there. The use of zip-a-tone, everything. The layout. So it was in development.
That's awesome.
The cover reminded me of the French comic Valerian. Or even like Mike S. Blueberry, the like spaghetti western kind of comic where that's very specific dynamic style. But I got that vibe.
I was reading a lot of heavy metal comics.
Heavy metal, yeah.
A lot of Metal Hurlant comes from French with Moebius, a lot of guys, Druillet. So my style was a soup of all of that.
I think I can see the influence in the artwork. There's traces there that I can see maybe, filtered through your hand.
Yeah, and I completely forgot the influence of Esteban Maroto, because he did one of his first works was Cinco por Infinito. I don't know. I think Neil Adams published it as Space Patrol or something like that.
Okay.
He actually he kind of adapted it for his comics, but the original one is a masterpiece. It's fantastic. It's amazing. So I learned a lot from Esteban Maroto too.
Oh, that's awesome, Mike. You got such a rich history with comics. It's amazing,
The only good thing about getting old is to have history.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Dave or Mike? Did you guys want to talk a little bit about your backgrounds?
Mike Buckley, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I grew up the normal way. I collected comics. I read almost everything, starting with the Batman and going through like the original Star-Lord before all the Marvel movie madness, particularly the story done by Claremont, Vernon Austin, which I thought was fantastic. And then I found out, wait a minute, these guys get paid to do this.
I think we all have that sudden realization, right? Like, oh my God, monetary value.
Yeah, and I reached that age where the parents say, you need to throw out your comics. And I said, sure. And Dad's record collection and Mom's Waterford Crystal will be right behind them. That discussion. And then I got to the point where I was working in a comic shop, managing it in Providence, Rhode Island, where this gangly fellow comes in by the name of David Campiti. That's what we met in the 1980s. And the legend began there, folks.
Oh, wow. You guys have known each other that long, huh?
Yeah, he's up with me.
Since what would that make it? 83?
85.
85. Okay.
Wow. That's great.
So
they also, the 80s is the greatest decade, right? So
I think so. A lot of my heroes come from there. That's why. You know what I mean? Dave, could you pick up the baton a little bit? And Michael walks into the shop, then what?
Oh, okay. We just got to talking about comics and the stuff that I was writing and packaging. I was already selling books or comics to Eclipse and Pacific and some of these other publishers. And Mike and I started talking, and then when the opportunity arose to do more, I brought in Mike because he could string words together very well. And so he started writing some comics with me. And then in 1988, I launched Innovation Publishing. And,
I wanted to bring that up. I have quite a few books from you.
There. Yeah. Let me backtrack just a little. To answer your original question about how did we find comics? Well, I literally found them at the corner drugstore, McNamar's drugstore, when I was 9 years old, and I started reading all this stuff. The first comic I remember buying was or at least reading in the back seat of the car, was the 25-cent America's Best Comics. It was a tie-in to ABC Network doing Fantastic Four, Spider-Man.
It was like a Saturday morning cartoon line, right?
Yeah. Yep. And that was the first comic I remember reading. So I was 9 years old reading comics, and not too long after that, I set my goal of what I wanted to do when I grow up. I wanted to write comic books. I wanted to work with Stan Lee. I wanted to do voices in cartoons, and I wanted to do animation. So here I am decades later. I worked with Stan Lee. I literally wrote Stan Lee's How to Draw Comics.
Oh wow, so awesome!
I've been writing comics for 41 years now, and I produce animation. So all the things that I set out to do, I've done. Okay, now I can retire. We're done. I'm gone.
I'll have to email you on the side, Dave, about the animation stuff. I definitely want to explore my options a little bit with my comic to see if something could be done animated wise.
I can talk to you about that. We're working with several companies that are pitching projects, and we're part of the package so that they can shop around with us. We're working with a number of celebrities, Kate Micucci and a number of others as part of packages of animated series. Plus, we're on the hook to animate a feature if these people come through with the funding. So you never know with this stuff.
Oh yeah, sure. Absolutely. It's like anything else nowadays, Yeah. Everything's a crapshoot.
Yeah. Well, the most recent project we completed, there's a comic book from Keenspot called Grubs.
Okay.
And they've done, I don't know, half a dozen issues or so. And we right before Christmas finished animating the Grubs Christmas special that they're shopping around there to run this coming Christmas. And it's sort of a backdoor pilot for what they hope will be a serise.
So, could you describe what the Grubs are a little bit? Like, kind of give like the elevator pitch?
Grubs is like a third grader who has his own imaginary friend, and he ends up getting in a whole lot of trouble and blaming the friend.
Oh, and, Calvin and Hobbes kind of deal.
So a little bit, but when it made it to animation, it had quite a nice cast of people doing it. So be on the lookout for that, and I've got information of that on my website. By the way, as we're talking, if anybody's out there listening is interested, my company's website's glasshousegraphics.com. And
let me share that in the chat.
Yeah, share that out so people can link to the page.
And ghsanimation.com. Two completely different sites offering much different stuff.
What was the second one again?
ghsanimation.com.
GHS Animation.
Yeah.
Amy, if you're watching, can you share those links out?
Yeah, we'll throw that out in the chat there.
Yes.
The other thing that interested me with David is like, because you started Innovation Comics, but you also helped start like Malibu Comics and like Eternity and a bunch of other comic companies as well, right?
A ton of stuff, because
oh my God.
I was somebody who figured out how to work with artists and package books. So there's probably 8 or 9 companies out there that I had a hand in starting in one way or another.
Refresh my memory. Was Malibu the Ultraverse?
Yeah. And
did that have Prime? Right?
Yeah,
was that?
But my association was a bit before that.
Oh, okay.
I started the companies that became Eternity, Amazing, Wonder, Pied Piper Press, and then all of those except Pied Piper sort of rolled into Malibu. And by then I was looking around saying, how come I didn't get paid? And they moved on to do their thing. And after getting burned so badly on that, I decided, no, I'm going to start my own thing, raise legitimate financing and so forth. So I found $400,000 in funding and got Innovation Publishing started, where we began with our own stuff, create our own material mostly, and then rolled into doing licensed books. And we were so fortunate that as we were getting into the license, we were looking at doing Dark Shadows, Beauty and the Beast, Stan Rice's Vampire Lestat, Psycho, Lost in Space, Quantum Leap. As we're rolling into doing these and needing more and more artists, we got lucky, made a connection with a fellow named Helcio de Carvalho in Brazil, He said, David, we have so many artists you would not believe. And he sends this amazing package with work by Joe Bennett and this guy named Mike Deodato.
Oh, wow. And, so your innovation is what brought you guys together? Like the innovation?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And we hired Deodato to work on Beauty and the Beast, because not only could the man do great line art, but he had this fabulous soft focus airbrush color style, which matched the cinematography on the Beauty and the Beast TV show.
Awesome.
I remember the Disney thing. We're talking the show with Ron Perlman and
I remember that.
Yep.
I actually have the full run of the Quantum Leap comic that you guys put out.
And
Mike, could you talk about the opportunity when receiving that opportunity, what it was like for you at that time, and maybe kind of what it felt for you as an artist?
Oh no, that was great. I was doing some stuff for Malibu. First, I did one shot with Santa Claus. That was a horror version of Santa Claus. And then I did some inks for Protectors, some superhero line of them. And then I got the chance to do something for innovation. First, I did some Quantum Leap. I guess I did also the Executioner as an inker over Sandu Florea. And I also did... what else, Dave? Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Lost in Space, too.
Yeah, Lost in Space, some issues and a whole run of covers.
Yeah.
I was just going to say,
I had the chance to do, because I was very fast, and of course I wanted more work, but Dave was worried because he couldn't believe I could handle all the titles. And then my agent lied to Dave, said, no, but his father is going to draw it. So some books has written Mike Deodato Sr., but it was actually me.
I figured out that this was the case when Elcio and Deodato and I were in New York together, and Dale was gathering reference for these projects. And it became obvious that he wasn't picking reference for his father. This was definitely for himself. It's like, oh, now I know what's really going on.
It was amazing. As for my ability to paint, I was actually starting to paint. I was working on a advertising agency, and I learned just the basics of airbrush. And Dave asked, "Oh, he can paint." Yeah, I can paint. So if you see my technique, it improves from issue 1 to 6 a lot. So I was actually learning while I was doing.
You're sharpening your skill as you go.
Besides knowing Dave, one of my best friends, great person, and later he became my agent too. So it was also a learning curve for me. I had the chance to do a lot of different stuff, and had to deliver in time. So I was training to work for the big league.
Excellent.
That's fantastic. I mean, the fact that all you guys came together is like pretty awesome to me, How did you make when did you jump over to Marvel? Was the Hulk the first thing you did for Marvel?
No, it was Avengers.
Avengers, okay.
Yeah, I my intention was to do keep the same level as I was doing in Wonder Woman, doing inks and pencils. But then after my 4th page, they said, "Okay, we have all the editor wants your work, and other ones. So, well, how about you do only very loose pencils like breakdowns, and Tom Palmer would do the finishes." Oh, okay. So you can notice a very after 4th page, the quality drops a bit. not because of Tom, but because I was doing like 4 pages a day.
Yeah, trying to whip it
really
out.
cranking the work
Be
out.
able to do other projects. So it was kind of crazy. It was amazing, of course. I was doing work for Marvel, and it was a dream come true. But it was crazy. I wouldn't sleep. I would sleep only 4 hours a day.
Oh my God. Wild.
I remember your Hulk run well. It was the one where, if everyone's out there watching, it was where Bruce Jones was the writer. I really enjoyed that run because it had like a nice had like a horror element to it, but also it was almost getting back to like the 70s TV show where Bruce Banner was kind of like on the, roaming the country again and stuff like that. I really liked that run a lot.
The intention was for the reader to fear the Hulk, not to be, oh, he's a hero and stuff. And the intention also to make his apparition very worthwhile. So it would be an entire issue with no Hulk.
Yeah,
just things happening, because Bruce Jones is a master of suspense. It's amazing. And his scripts, you just have to follow every description there, and you got the perfect storytelling. And I learned so much. It was like a master class in storytelling there.
Oh, that's amazing.
After that one, I grew up a lot.
Dark Stream Studios says I collected the full Secret Avengers run. I love that book. Yeah, that was a great one.
Great with Ed Brubaker.
Yeah,
but he was not feeling well doing team book, so he left. So I left too. It was great. I had the chance to draw Master of Kung Fu. Yeah, it was great.
Oh yeah,
that's great. Do you guys find like, and this is probably a question for all three of you guys, since you all kind of worked, for the big two at one point or other, do you guys find more satisfaction working with the corporate comics, or would you rather be doing your own stuff like Jade Warriors or, starting innovation, things like that?
Mike, Buckley, you want to start?
No, go ahead.
All right. In my case, 99% of what I've done has been for independent publishers. The most mainstream stuff I've done, there's been a lot of it. When you think of mainstream, you think of Marvel and DC.
Yeah, absolutely.
From my company, mainstream is anybody paying well that's getting good distribution. Our best client is Simon & Schuster.
Okay.
Now, I have to put something in perspective. In the past 12 months, we've drawn 8,000 pages of comics for Simon & Schuster.
Wow.
So got to understand the level of output, but they're not doing regular 32-page comics. They are doing
like the
books like this, Goddess Girls, 200 pages, Heroes in Training. And you see this David Campiti guy writing these.
Oh yeah.
But so we do these and Spirited and just so many different things. I think we've worked on like 12 different series for them. I enjoy doing those, and they've given me a lot of flexibility in getting them written. But at the end of the day, you don't own them. You don't get royalties on them.
Yeah.
So you want to do the creator-owned stuff in the hopes that down the road there's some green there that you may not see it now, but you might see it later on.
And that you own something, right? Like you have like an IP that you own, right?
Yeah. So here with Jade Warriors is something that we started on in some way, shape, or form in 1995 or 96.
Oh, really?
And it came out. 3 issues of Jade Warriors came out at Image Comics. Before that, there was a 10 or 12 page Death Kiss story that introduced that character that was in Asylum #2 from Extreme Studios.
Oh, wow.
And then we did 1 issue for somebody else, and when they don't pay you keep going and somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
But so we had that material, and it was sitting for decades. And then the three of us talked. It's like, well, why don't we finish this? So here was something that we began decades ago. Now we could put it on Kickstarter and get attention, and one hopes by the end of these Kickstarters more money than we would have seen from Image or anybody else.
We are in a golden age for that right now. So now, it's a great time for it. I feel like creator owned is kind of taken back a little bit of the comic industry a little bit, and it shows, And
it really needs to, because the way the market has been structured, this whole work made for hire thing is just a god awful situation. You got some that will take maximum advantage of it, and maybe you get paid your page rate and you don't see another dime ever on anything. And then you find, okay, that was reprinted in 14 different countries a number of times, and you're not seeing a penny. Or, you do it for Marvel in DC, and DC you'll get international royalties. Marvel won't even pay you that. So, there are strong limitations there. I would rather have the opportunity to do something like Jade Warriors, and I know Deodato is doing a whole mess of creator-owned things, where you hope you eventually see the game or the movie or the TV show or any combination of merchandise at the tail end.
Absolutely.
And that becomes not only your retirement, but you hope something for your family much later on.
For sure. Oh, yeah. I feel like, so when I remember being a kid going into comic shops, it was part of what got me there was seeing indie books like The Max on MTV and Spawn on HBO, and and I'm like, well, what are these? Because I was normally just used to reading X-Men comics or Spider-Man or X Factor, you know what I mean? So when I started finding out there's these deeper, grittier, more advanced, adults, more adult stories out there. I got hooked. It opened me up to indie comics. And that was a golden age for it too, because then you saw these things like The Crow and Tank Girl becoming movies, and I feel like Hollywood might be coming back to that, where it's start reaching out to the fringes of comics to find new properties and things of that nature.
I think that's the case. That these things are going to ebb and flow, and so you don't know what the next thing is that Hollywood's going to pick up.
Yep.
But you get enough stuff out there, and you hope something's going to catch people's attention.
Yeah. Well, so Jade Warriors caught my attention. And as soon as I started going through the campaign page, something definitely caught my eye, and I backed it right away. I know, Keith, can we bring up the page so we can share it with everybody and we can take a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
And can we get like a little bit of a pitch on Jade Warriors?
Mike Buckley, you do this one.
Okay. Well, Jade Warriors is the story of these women who have been genetically altered, manipulated a certain way for what they think originally is the Yakuza, the mob of Japan. And it turns out it's something quite different and a lot more dangerous and deadly, having to do with the race of dragons that lived years ago. And suddenly they find themselves in the position, instead of chasing down one of their own who they believed had betrayed them, are now having to team up with her to face down a threat that could destroy the world as we know it.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
It does sound great.
Yeah, so we had a lot of fun doing something very different from what you thought it was going to be in the first issue to where it ends up in the final issue. And, we were so fortunate that it fell together the way it did. Jade Warriors wasn't even supposed to be its own series.
Oh, really?
Dale, if I remember rightly, didn't the Death Kiss character start as a drawing of one of the many characters you were designing for Power Sword?
Yeah, that's she was one. Yeah.
Dale did. We had like 20 different characters. He did pencil drawings for a series that I hoped to do someday. One that I came up with in my teen years called Power Sword, and he drew Eric Braeden and Christina Davis, all the supporting characters and the aliens. And then he started working on some of the other characters. And he did this one character, and I forget if he had the name or I had the name or what it was, but we ended up calling her Death Kiss, and somehow we ended up getting Mike Buckley and I ended up with a 8 or 10 or 12 page sequence to introduce the character that was part of our pitch for trying to sell what we had called the master plan. We were going to do 4 different books: Power Sword, Power Masters, Power Lords, Power Prime, all interrelated superhero universe. Okay. And we were trying to show that around. And that 10 or 12 page story, Rob Liefeld saw it, said, "Oh, this is finished. This looks great. Let me publish that." And really? He put that in Asylum #2. And the design sketch that Dale drew, Dale, I forget if you inked it or if Ima Ribeiro inked that.
I inked it.
Okay, that became the cover, and then that preview story ended up in Asylum 2, and Extreme Studios didn't end up doing anything more with it. So we thought about maybe publishing it ourselves, and we started doing it to publish in black and white, sort of as a backup in some other projects that we were doing for a black and white company that we had launched. And we got a number of pages into it, and the distribution wasn't what we'd hoped. So, gee, what are we going to do with this? So we started shopping it around, and Image Comics said, "Hey, we'll pick this up." And then they ended up doing a few issues, and but we never got to finish the story until now.
Oh, awesome.
That's awesome. And the other thing I like about this book, just right off the back, is I love that you guys brought back like the sexy women comic, like the bad girl comics. I love that because we don't see those a lot anymore. And it was like all the rage, going back 15 years ago. And I'm glad that someone's doing that, again.
If you look at crowdfunding, you see there's plenty of that out there, which tells you the audience is there.
Yeah.
But that audience isn't being served by the publishers selling into the comic shops. For whatever reason, they feel that it's not politically correct. They feel that the market has changed. Nobody wants what was done in the 90s and so forth. Whatever the reason, those books are no longer plentiful in the comic shops, but they remain plentiful in the crowdfunding. So that seems to be the right market for it. As we could tell, it's like for Jade Warriors, the Kickstarter that's running right now is actually the second one that we've done for Jade Warriors. The first one was this one, this nice. Oh, wow. We did an absolute edition.
Oh, look at that! Wow. So is this
nice slip cover? Look at that! Look at that slip cover. That's awesome.
Really nice. Gorgeous slip case.
Was that the material that was published at Image?
Huh?
Was that the material that was published at Image?
About half of it.
Half of it, okay.
Yeah, and then the other half is mostly new stuff. And
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that image. Oh,
wow, that's beautiful. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah. Oh,
that's cool.
That his first superhero color work.
Look at that. That's very cool.
That's awesome.
He did this for me as a sample at Innovation. When we were doing Hero Alliance, I wanted to bring it back, and this was the art he did. And
so good.
I ended up sending this to Neil Adams, and Neil Adams hired him partly off of that.
No kidding.
I can see why.
and then Deodato did this, and this is what got him hired on Wonder Woman.
That is so cool.
Wow.
All airbrush work.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Mike, do you remember doing that? And
yeah, it was all airbrush because I didn't have a computer or those digital colors back then.
Look at that. So good.
Do you, Mike? Do you have a preference nowadays with digital, or do you still prefer to do hand stuff? Or I mean, is there a difference for you specifically?
Digital because it's faster.
Yes, yes.
So I can go and watch Shogun at this.
Big TV watcher, Mike.
I love series.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Wow, that looks great. Like I gotta say, like I know.
Beautiful.
Your style is a little different now, but that stuff looks fantastic still.
That's powerful stuff. It's very energetic, it's nice all around.
Yeah.
What a great, the quality of the printing too is awesome on that book.
Yeah, it looks good. It's a hardcover book too. Though I mean, like I love hardcovers. I'll preferably try to buy a hardcover.
That is awesome.
That is the cover that I pledged on right there. That's the cover I pledged on right there. I saw the live action cover. It reminds me of like seeing covers like Preacher #1. I remember being a kid seeing Preacher #1 and the hyper realistic preacher face with the burning church, and it was just so like I don't know. It rattled me because it was just just to see that kind of like imagery and just it looks so hyper real, and I love it. And then seeing like photo covers, things like that. I remember Spider-Man did a photo cover back in the day that just like was awesome. It was all the rage to me.
Is Mike working on his drawings there? Looking pretty buff there, Mike.
Yeah, that's beefed out. You went over the top.
Go flex it out, Mike. Look at those guns.
Yeah,
that's awesome. But yeah, no, I looked through this earlier today, and this looks great. Like, really, really looks like a return to fun '90s bad girl.
Dave is one of the characters too.
What was that, Mike?
Dave is one of the characters.
Oh, Dave, are you cameoed in the book?
Yeah.
It started out. There was a character in the book that we had written into the first story. There I am.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Dale knew how much the character was going to be in there when we started out. So what I guess he did as a throwaway for a few pages. I ended up as a significant character through the whole 6 issues.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great. Dude, I love this image, Mike. I love how everything's kind of going to the center of the page.
Very dynamic.
It's so cool.
And I have Mike Buckley to thank for any good stuff my character says or goes through.
I was going to say, Mike, can you talk Michael Buckley? Can you talk about putting David into the book? I mean, did you have kind of an agenda for it, or was it just supposed to be kind of a laugh? Or
well, I thought this guy is Dave, so I tried to make what he said and did be very much like what the real life David Campiti would do.
Sure.
hide
And
in the corner and don't come out with the gun.
He even gets a chance to save everybody at one point during the story, just by being the kind of person he is and thinking the way he does.
Well, thanks.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Dave and Mike Buckley, are you guys both the writer on this book?
Yeah, well, there were a lot of things that we knew Deodato liked to draw, or we talked in bits and pieces to him about what we wanted to do, and followed his lead on the style. It was obvious what he drew so well. And then, how did it work, Mike? It's Buckley. It's been so long. Did I write most of the first one, and then you write most of the second one, and then?
Yeah, what happened was on the first issue, you did most of the heavy lifting in terms of the basic setup. I did a good part of the dialoguing and finishing it up. And as we progressed through the second and third issue, you had so much other stuff going on trying to run Glass House that you kind of turned and said, okay, you do it. And it's the other way around, where I was doing more of the plotting in detail, which was a good experience, a good learning experience, among other things. And because when I originally saw this idea, and I thought, oh, the good girl, bad girl look, I thought that's not my forte. And then I saw the word dragon. I said, "Ooh, I like that." So I kind of took it and ran with that from there, and we both had input into it to make sure it ended up being what we wanted it to be, and I think I'd say we were about 95% successful. There's always some things you want to change when you look at it later, but I am very proud of the work that all of us did. And it was just an amazing time. I almost wish the series had run longer. I would like to do more of it.
Well, I mean, the campaign is pretty successful. So, I mean, I'm not a businessman per se, but if the campaign does really, really well, maybe that necessitates a little bit more, right?
Never say never.
I like that.
I worry about diminishing returns a bit, but I'm sure because the people who bought this one, of course, aren't going to need the regular hardcover.
Yeah,
which is the thing that's out there now, and we're hoping that things like this podcast are going to introduce a lot of new people to it.
For sure. I mean,
if enough new people come to it, then certainly we would look at doing more. And since it's creator owned, that I hope that falls into what Deodato is wanting to do more of.
Sure, of course. Just have to adjust our schedules.
Yeah. But Mike, I think it's a really good value on this book because, I mean, you're looking at 192 pages, right? Is that what it says? That's a lot of content for the price that you guys are offering. So, like, this is a really good value. Now, on top of that, it's also a hardcover book. Like, hardcover books usually go up in value. They don't go down in value when you collect them. So, I think you got, for anybody out there watching this, and if you're within the time that it is to back the campaign, I'd say do it. I mean, this is a really, really nice book, and given the hardcover nature, the good price tag, and the amount of content you get, and you got Mike Deodato's artwork, how would you not want to back this book?
Yeah, it's some wonderful stuff. And what was nice was, this wasn't a rush job to put this thing out. We decided more than a decade ago that we wanted to work on this. And so we finished the material on a comfortable schedule as we had time to do it right. We went back and looked at the files that existed on the image issues. And we said, that's just not good enough. So we went ahead and recolored everything. Touched up a few things, redialogued a couple of things, and just make it as good as it could possibly be. And then we went to another Michael Kelleher, who did all the wonderful design work on the book.
It's a great design. I love the design.
Yeah, and Michael Kelleher, who also did the recoloring on it, he spent about a year working on this, on the recoloring, on all the design work to make it as right as we possibly could. And we didn't take it to the Kickstarter until we were 100% sure this was what we wanted. And we turned the files into the printer and started the printing before we even ran the Kickstarter, so that people didn't have to wait long.
And that's great too. Yeah. Awesome. Fast turnaround delivery is fantastic.
Yeah. So
I was just gonna say, that's one of the biggest critiques that people have when it comes to crowdfunding and crowdsourcing is that, I backed it, but I never got the book. But right here, it's number one, it's already hit its goal. So it's there, it's deliverable, and you guys already have the book. It's done. It's fantastic. Beautiful.
Oh, nice.
I can't wait. Can't wait to get that book.
So is this going to start fulfilling like once the campaign ends, Dave?
Pretty close. My
Okay.
wife does all the fulfillment of all the things, and we have one Kickstarter before that she will have to finish.
Okay.
We did a Bonsai Girl. What was it? Bonsai Girl Scandalous Schoolgirl boxed set. My wife did the Bonsai Girl comic book with me, and so we had that one was like 2 graphic novels and a new art book in a slipcase, and so that was the Kickstarter we did before this one.
Cool.
Very cool.
So I mean, sorry.
Go
Keith,
ahead,
on.
Johnny.
No, I was just gonna say this project, it shows that how impassioned you guys were about it, all the time that you took to invested to put into it, sharpen your skill sets to put it out, all that stuff. It's fantastic, and it definitely shows in the final product that's been previewed here so far.
Mm-hmm. It was something we really wanted to do right. It's like Deodato's stuff is so good that I wanted to see it all in permanent editions, and this was the way to do this one right. Otherwise, it was going to be this lost project that had 3 issues at Image and everybody forgot about. No, it was too good for that. Let's finish the story. Let's put it out and make it a format we could be proud of.
Right. Keith, what were you going to say before I stepped on you there?
No, I was going to say, the one thing I noticed off the bat too on this campaign that I really liked is you guys have some unique, like perks, like items, like the custom watches and the calendar stuff that I don't normally.
That's really
see
cool. I
on
like a calendar. You don't see that too often. And one thing I always say when I did my campaign, I wanted practical items, things that people can use in their everyday life. So I did coffee mugs, I did things like that. But yeah, a calendar. You need a calendar.
It's a great idea.
And, it wasn't a junky calendar. You can actually write stuff on this.
Yeah, no, it looks
plenty
great.
of room.
Yeah, I love it.
You see some calendars that are so designy, you can't really make use of them as a calendar. But
yeah,
there we go.
I love that. And it also plays back to the old pinup girl calendars from back in the day.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I love that.
And of course, you get a custom sketch from Mike Deodato, which is amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Focus on that for a minute. Deodato doesn't often do original art on paper anymore. So to get something drawn on paper rather than digital and it be a custom one-of-a-kind commission is kind of amazing. And it's in this Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's an opportunity you don't want to
get that chance.
Yeah, you don't want to let that opportunity pass you by.
And a lot of this material, Deodato is signing. He doesn't do that many conventions in the U.S. Where are you going to get a signed Deodato project?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
That's for sure.
One thing I wanted to note too, Mike, and like this just shows your versatility as an artist. Like I didn't even know that you did like cartoony like comic strips. Is that what this is?
Yeah, it's actually they are like anniversary cards, like forgive me cards that I did to my wife and to my daughter. When every time I had a fight with my wife, I did one card too, and I did in the form of a strip or maybe a cartoon or whatever. So it's the collection of things I did to my family that I collect in this book. It's a lot of situations that couples can identify, families can identify the situation. So I thought it would be a good idea to make it public. And it's something I do. I started my career in newspapers, drawing, doing political, how do you call cartoons?
Like political cartoons,
comic strips.
So yeah, I have this style, but I never actually used it. Only in the beginnings.
It's a little bit of a biography as well. It's a showcase of your cartoon artwork, but it's maybe a little bit got a little bit more of a personal touch, telling some personal stories too, right?
Yeah, it's very intimate. I like that.
Yeah,
no, I like it.
I had already more stuff to a second one, I guess.
Oh wow,
yeah, that's great. Like it reminds me of Calvin Hobbes, or even like like Bone, like a Jeff Smith kind of style. It's really really cool.
Terry Moore in there too.
What was that, Mike?
A little bit of Terry Moore in that too when you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Famous in Paradise Kids stuff. That was very reminiscent of that.
Yep. I see that.
Yeah, I'm totally impressed, Mike. Like how you can go from that style to your realistic, more comic art. It's very impressive. Not a lot of artists can do both like that.
Yeah, I have a lot of style, but I don't have much chance to use them also.
Yeah, well, especially in this business, like I find like the all ages comic strip stuff is kind of less sought after, I guess, unless you're a parent, at least in this country it is, I think,
Well, I think it's more niche, right? It's just finding
more
the niche. Yeah, finding the more niche, because it exists. It's just a matter of connecting to the right audience, right? And that's part of the beauty of Kickstarter too, is a crowdfunding platform, is you can go to it and find anything you need. It's not like when you go to a comic shop and everything's kind of divided up into very specific niche corners. I mean, you go to Kickstarter, it's the Amazon for indie comics, basically.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why I decided to go back to indie. I had to do independent comics in 2019 when I left Marvel, because I wanted to do different stuff, to experiment with other styles. And so I did a lot of books there. I started with Berserk Unbound with Dark Horse and Jeff Lemire. And then I did a lot of books to AWA. So one of them I got the Eisner.
Yeah. Which book was
congrats.
that? Which book was that you got the Eisner on?
Not All Robots with Mark Russo.
So. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay,
Very
I know which one you're talking about. There's a picture of you with the Eisner right there.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
My precious.
Yeah. That's amazing. Beautiful. So good. Yeah, this campaign looks awesome. I'm gonna share it right in the chat again here for everybody to check out. And if you're watching this video tomorrow when it's live on YouTube, the link is in the description of the video, so you can back this. And you're getting a quality product with these three gentlemen.
For sure.
Who've been making comics for years.
Yep. You got 16 days to go from today, so there's plenty of time to back. You know what I mean?
And you heard from David that this book is just about ready to go. So they'll probably be shipping it within a month of the campaign's end, maybe even sooner than that.
Can't wait to get it in my hands.
That's amazing. Any perks that you guys want to highlight? We talked about the commission from Mike, the calendar. Any other ones that you think are really unique or a special deal for people?
There's one thing I put in one of the add-ons, I think, which is it's a I don't even know if it's in this part, but when you click on products and the add-ons, it's a digital only of a bunch of his line art, so you get to see the stuff uncolored, and in some cases you're going to be able to see the original hand lettering that was on the pages with the lines still there, made with the Ames lettering guide. So
cool. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I think there's a level there that, as I said, offers his custom original commission as part of it, and there's a couple of nice packages there of several things where you can get the Jade Warriors and the cartoon art book and the Deodato sketchbook.
The movie poster. There's a movie poster with the photo print.
Yeah, some good stuff there.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of great stuff.
I tried to put together one that if I were scrolling through Kickstarter and I came across this, I would have to order it.
Yeah.
It's got, even the header image is very eye-catching. It definitely makes you want to look in and find out more and see what's going on here with this book.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the only thing I'm shocked by that it's not a Kickstarter. Is it a Kickstarter project that we love?
Not sure, but I know it got some notice the first couple of days.
Well, it looks like KickTrack may have given you guys a
yeah,
it's pretty cool. And funded in
that's
10 minutes.
Couple of days.
Wow.
Funded in 10. Wow.
That's
awesome.
Amazing.
So, yeah, no, this campaign looks great. I think everybody should check it out. And like I said, the link is in the chat if you guys want to back these three fellas tonight. And also, like I said, tomorrow it will be live on the channel. So if you want to back then, and there's 16 days to go.
Plenty of time.
And you're going to get some great work with these three fellows, so.
And again, there's very rare opportunities in the award rewards. I mean, to get a sketch from Mike would be amazing. You're not like David said, there's not going to be many opportunities where you can get things like this. So by all means, now's the time to back.
Oh, absolutely. And look at this, support the channel. Good gentlemen, support the channel and the creators.
Thank you, Sigma Comics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes, and I don't want to keep you fellas too much.
Yeah.
I know you
Busy
guys are
schedules.
all
We don't wanna
busy.
keep you guys.
So we'd like to probably start wrapping this up.
All right.
Did you guys want to send out any of your social media links that people can follow you on, that kind of thing?
Mine is all Mike Deodato, Instagram, Mike Deodato, Facebook, Mike Deodato, Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, I'm not on Instagram or Twitter a whole lot, but I'm mainly on Facebook. I'm the only David Campiti in the world, so I'm actually
really
easy to find on Facebook. Plus, you can find it under my name, and you can also look for David Campiti's Glasshouse Graphics, and that has more of our business stuff there.
Gotcha.
I've already given the two websites. I can give it again. glasshousegraphics.com and ghsanimation.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Dave. How about you, Mike Buckley?
I just want to point out all three of us are on Facebook. So those that have questions about us individually or as a group or about the book, you can always reach us there. Okay. And that's probably the extent of my social media presence. And but there's a quick story behind that. Is David said you've got to get online on Facebook so that publishers and editors know who you are and maybe want to hire you. And I said, okay, fine. And a week later, he contacts me and says, you have to post something. I've gotten used to it now, so I'm much better with that than I used to.
That being said, any editors or publishers out there who want to hire us individually or together know how to reach us now.
Terrific.
Yeah, I mean, like these guys know how to make comics, so you're gonna get a good quality comic with these boys. So definitely check them out. Johnny, anything you want to shout out tonight?
Well, I mean, you can find my comics over on Global Comics under Shoei Productions. So if you ever want to check out any of my work, that you can always go there, of course. But really, I want to take the time to thank you guys for taking time out of your schedule, coming on your show, talking about Jade Warriors, and just sharing a little bit about yourselves as creatives. We really, greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to do so.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Terrific. Yeah, absolutely. I want to send the same sentiment out as Johnny. It's an absolute honor to have the three of you on our show tonight.
Absolutely.
This is not normally our night too, which is, we usually do Monday nights, but we had so much going on that let's do a random Thursday, So it was nice that you guys could accommodate us. And it's great. And honor to meet you, Mike Deodato. Honor to meet you, Dave. honor to meet you, Mike Buckley. So keep in touch. If you guys got future projects and you want to come back and pitch them to our audience, we'd love to have you back. So.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you back on.
Happy to do it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. All right, everybody. So we're going to wrap up this episode of Indie Comics Relay. Like I said, it'll be live on the channel. Check out these fellas with Jade Warriors. It looks like a great quality book, worth every penny of your money. And we'll be back Monday night with another episode of Indie Comics Relay. Until then, have a great week and read some comics, everyone.
Be
Good night,
excellent to one
everybody.
another.
Thank you.